Hello and welcome. This is probably not going to be posted, but if it is, then it will mark my return to YouTube. I made a few YouTube videos a few years ago, as you can obviously see on this channel. They're probably right here, or suggested right here. And I didn't really like making, I don't really like making videos of me working on stuff, but I've realized that I forget almost everything that I do ever. So like when I did those car things in the past that I made videos of, I kind of completely forgot that I did those things. And then I am able to go back and watch the videos and I'm like, oh wow, I do cool stuff from time to time. And it's, I don't know, it's motivating for me to, you know, do other stuff with cars when I go back and watch those, and you know, maybe other people are entertained by them as well. So that being said, the videos that I am hopefully going to be making are kind of just purely selfish. I just want to be able to record what I'm doing so I can go back and look at it and kind of relive the interesting stuff that I do. So with all that out of the way, obviously it's been a long time since I made a video. In the last video there was a Supra, I'm sure you remember, and then I had the $500 BMW. Both of those cars are gone. The BMW I sold for $1,000 to some guy that might still be driving it to work, which is absolutely ridiculous to me. And that car was actually spotted at a sideshow like 3 months after I sold it. The Supra, I crashed on a racetrack. I got it running real good, I rebuilt the engine, did everything, and it was finally taking form, and I went to my first drift event at Sonoma Raceway. It was Winter Jam 2020, and I just did not know how to drive the car, was a little too confident, and I crashed it into a concrete wall at 40 miles an hour, and I basically just bent the car in half, completely destroyed it. It's pretty sad. I'm okay, I wasn't injured at all. And yeah, so after I crashed that car, I parted it out. I made a decent amount of money parting it out, and then once most of the parts were sold, I still have a lot of them in my shop, but I just had a bare metal shell, and I took it to the recycling yard, and I watched them crush my Supra, and it was extremely emotional for me. And I know, you know, it's just a car, but it was really what I had put most of my energy into for several years. So it was very heartbreaking. So that being said, obviously I'm standing in front of a car that's completely torn apart. I wish I started, you know, recording this. By the way, I'm sorry about my hair. I rolled out of bed, and I didn't think I was gonna be making a video today, but I was like, why not? So this car, yeah, I wish I started recording earlier so we kind of could go through the whole thing together, but I'm gonna have to catch you up to speed. Okay, my shop is an absolute disaster. All kinds of, yeah. I took the oil pan off and I forgot to drain the oil first, so oops. So anyways, this is my 2003, 2004? I don't remember. It's a BMW 330i. It's manual, 5-speed. I didn't realize when I bought it, but it was actually converted to 5-speed, and they didn't do an amazing job. So I'll take a little tour real quick. Inside, it's real dark in here, but the inside's in pretty good condition. There's some tears in the seats, and then the trim on the inside is all taken out. It's in the trunk, and I took the headliner out because like the wiring didn't make sense to me for this little thing, so I wanted to like take it out to make sure that that was legit. Anyways, we'll talk about it later. It's over there behind that toolbox. BMW E46s all came with like tan kind of ABC pillar trim and headliners, but the headliner is black. So I have all the... I'm going to re-wrap these in black to match the headliner. And then I have all the ZHP parts too, like the visors and the handles and all this little stuff. So it should kind of look like a ZHP when I put all that back in, because they all had black everything. That's basically that. The car's in like mediocre condition. Obviously there's like, can you see those dents? There's like a bunch of dents right here. I'll probably replace that door eventually. This trim is like messed up. Has a bunch of extra parts. This side is pretty clean. The car came on CSL rep wheels, so I'll probably put it back on those as soon as I get it back on the ground. Obviously there's a lot of parts around here, so let me explain what I'm doing. There is a maxim or a saying in the photography world, and the saying is the best camera is the one that you have. And the saying means if you have the coolest, biggest, most expensive camera in the world, but you don't have it with you when you are at a moment when you want to take a picture, it's absolutely worthless. The only good camera is the one that you can feasibly have on you, because then it actually serves its purpose of taking pictures. And so this car is going to be kind of reflect that. The best car is the one that you are in. So I could build a very extreme car, and I love extreme cars. I think race cars are awesome. I would like to build a race car. I haven't shown you my E36 drift car. We'll talk about that next time. But this is not that. This is going to be a daily driver, and it is going to facilitate my learning how to drive well. I mean, I can drive well, but in a performance setting. So the goals for this car are for it to perform well when I push it hard, for it to be extremely reliable, and hopefully for people who don't like cars to not hate riding in it. So I'm gonna try to keep it OEM plus. TLDR is this is an OEM plus E46 build, which is there's a dime a dozen. So I am trying to imitate a lot of stuff I've seen on forums, and we'll see how it goes. So the mod list, I will kind of point at different parts I have on the ground and then talk about why I'm installing them. Okay, so obviously the front subframe is missing from the car. It is right there. And then the suspension is over there. And I took the front subframe off to reseal the oil pan, and also to take the front cover off. And I'm taking the front cover off because I am installing a Seems Legit Garage oil chain tensioner, and I'm also replacing the oil chain just because I'm in there, and it's like 15 bucks. And the reason I'm doing that is because this is an M54B30, and M54B30s, if you are familiar with BMW stuff, you know that when you rev them a lot, the oil pump nut, and I can't really turn it right now, it must have like gotten cold or something, but that nut, when I took the oil pan off, was loose. And it's loose because this chain normally does not have a tensioner, and so it just whips back and forth when the engine runs, and it does it really aggressively when you rev the engine really high, and it'll make this nut come off. And if this nut comes off and the sprocket comes off, the engine has no oil pressure and it blows up instantly. So we don't want that to happen. We're gonna pull this cover off. We're obviously gonna clean everything because it looks disgusting in here. And then I'm going to install a tensioner on here. I'm gonna weld this nut on. I'm gonna reseal the oil pan so it's not leaking. And then I'm gonna, obviously use new gasket. I'm just gonna replace basically every gasket on this engine besides the head gasket because I'm sure most of them are leaking. I'm not gonna replace the oil filter housing gasket because I know that was just replaced. I just asked the owner right before I bought it. Yes, and then the front subframe will go back on with new OEM M3 motor mounts, and then let's see, I'm going to pull the transmission out, and I'm going to put that ZHP ZF 6-speed transmission in. And the reason I'm doing that is because I'm also putting that M3 rear subframe in. And in order to put it, and the reason I'm putting that in is so I could put that M3 rear differential in. Because it's limited slip, and it's kind of one of the cheapest ways to put a limited slip in this car, and it's just all the parts are beefier, it'll be good. And so the reason I'm 6-speed swapping it when I do that is because if I 6-speed swap it, I can use an M3 drive shaft, and if I kept the 5-speed, I would have to use a custom drive shaft. So it actually ends up not being that much more expensive to do this, especially because I could take the ZF 5-speed out of this, and I could put it in my E36 drift car, which has a GetRag 5-speed, which is weaker, and everything will bolt right up. And this is super cool. I feel like I'm pretty smart for this, because this is like saving money in 10 different ways. So I'm going to flip the camera. This is kind of, okay, we're vlogging now. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah, so 330i rear trailing arms and axles, technically you use, I think, like both you use 2 right side axles or something, can be put on an E36, and they're stronger, which is good because E36s break their axles all the time. So axles from this are going on E36, transmission's going on E36, and then this is getting ZHP 6-speed, M3 rear subframe, M3 driveline, M3 diff. Yes. Then I have Eibach front and rear sway bars. The rear one, the M3 subframe actually came with an Eibach sway bar, and then this one I got from the same car that I got the transmission from. It was like an auto dismantler car. What else am I doing? Obviously I'm cleaning everything right now. If you've ever worked on a BMW or really any old car, like, you know how absolutely disgusting they get. So 90% of what I'm doing is just cleaning. But let's see, what else do I have? I have all new cooling system parts. I have a coil rad radiator. So that's going in. This is a reddish RACP reinforcement kit, which is like the best one you can get. So all these metal plates, of course I can't just keep anything in the packaging because I'm ADHD. So like, as soon as I get something, I have to unbox it because I want to see it, even if I'm not working on it. So all this stuff is like just piled up because I took it out of the box. But those go basically in between the rear subframe and the sheet metal of the car, and they get welded onto the car, and it keeps the sheet metal of the car from cracking when you drive it hard. So very important. I'm probably gonna have my friend weld those on because I suck at welding. What else we got here? We got motor mounts. We got a thermostat thing. We got some bushings, and basically like most of the bushings that wear out on this car I have some braided steel brake lines. There's stuff missing from this build. I would like to put coilovers on the car right now, just because I'm sure the suspension is messed up, or I'm sorry, not messed up, but like worn out. You know, this car's old. Nor do I have like brake pads, which I would like to replace. I would probably replace the brake rotors. I do have brake fluid. I have some good Motul stuff. So, you know, I'm pretty financially restrained right now. So, you know, we're working with what we got. And so I think those are most of the big things I'm doing. And then once the car, this is probably going to wait for, honestly, a couple of years, because it's just not something I want to deal with right now. But I have one more thing for the car, which is by far the most cool. We got the engine corner over here. We got all kinds of engine parts, and we have, oh, is that a throttle body I see right there? Is that another throttle? Oh my God, what the? It's an S54. Yes, so eventually that engine will go in the car. Now, it kind of depends how long my M54 lasts. I have no problem having M54 horsepower. I think the M54 is a great motor. I like driving low power cars, and I know this thing is just going to be kind of high maintenance. I know they're stout engines, but obviously you kind of have to put a lot of money into it at the beginning, right? You need to like do the Vanos and the rod bearings and whatever you need to do, valve adjustments. This also, it has like leaking valves according to a leak down test, so I might pull the head off. And I would like, obviously, to like do a bunch of stuff to this motor. I would like to put cams in it, but I can't even afford coilovers right now. So that's a project for another day, but I just bought one as soon as I could because I am assuming that they will get more expensive over time. And if I ever need $5,000, then I have it sitting right here, and maybe it will be more than that in a few years. So yes, S54. This is a blown up M50B25 out of my 36, and then I'm just talking about it since I'm here. This is going to be like an S52 Frankenstein motor. I have S52 cams. I have an M54B30 crank. I have an S52. Well, they're the same head, but I have another head. Yeah, this engine has a hole in the piston. It was still running when I took it out, but it had like crazy, compression loss, and it didn't run really well because, one cylinder had a hole in it, and that is not good. Okay, I think we're up to speed. So let's see. The car has like a crackle tune on it. It had a terrible booger welded like muffler delete exhaust, and it has eBay headers, which I don't really care. I don't mind the eBay headers, but I don't want to deal with trying to get this car to like fake pass smog. I would rather it just pass smog. So I'm going to put catted headers back on. I'm going to find a stock exhaust. I'm going to revert it. I'll have my friend Brett, hopefully he can, or somebody else, revert the tune to stock for now, at least for it to pass smog. And then, maybe I could put a different tune on it that doesn't sound like my car's backfiring. And then, yeah, so I said earlier that the manual swap wasn't super legit. I think it's still running on, like, I don't think they ever changed the software for it to think it's manual. I think it still thinks it's automatic. So it has like a light on the dash, and the rev hang is really, really bad. And I think that's part of the reason. It also doesn't have a electric fan. It has a belt driven fan off the motor. And as far as I know, all or like 99% of manual E46s had an electric fan. And I would like to just have less stuff for the motor to turn anyways, maybe pick up a few horsepower. So I'm going to find one of those OEM fans too, hopefully used, or I'll just, buy one off eBay if I have to. So those are the things I'm doing right now. Obviously, absolutely massive list. But it feels good to actually tell this to a camera instead of just kind of muttering it to myself in the shower. Like, am I the only person that does that? Anyways, I'm gonna replace the hood. The girl I bought it from, she sold it for a Hellcat, which kind of tells you a lot about the way it was treated. But there's literally a picture on her Instagram of her standing on the hood, and the hood's dented. So I'm gonna get a new hood. Oh, I have one more cool thing. Let's see if I can find it. I don't actually know if I'm gonna put this in. I thought it was really cool, so I bought it. But if I can't fit like a few snowboards in the back seat with it installed, then I'm probably not gonna install it. But it's pretty cool. It's this. Yeah. It's a SLR rear strut mount / RACP brace. So these tie into the forward rear subframe bolts, and then these tie into the rear upper strut mounts. And it kind of just stiffens everything, and it looks cool. It's like candy purple. So that's that. Yeah. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Thank you.